Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 here on HeflaTV HB1. I'm Grandis V, and yet again I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris for his best of 3 series between Vega Squadron and Virtus Pro Polar. As far as Game 1 is concerned, VPP take a victory there in a pretty convincing fashion. A lot of that, I think, had to come down to the draft as well as just the early laning stage. Vega Squadron just couldn't find anything useful to do with that Phoenix, and in the end they lacked lockdown initiation. This game's going to start out with Virtus Pro Polar with an Ogre Magi and a Scarth Mage Legion for Vega.
Yeah, so as upsetting as it is to see Phoenix and Spirit Breaker, the team with those two heroes just didn't have enough early game. What a surprise. And maybe Vega Squadron have a little bit better start with these two heroes. Scarth Mage is already better than the Dazzle Spirit Breaker combination that they had in the last game as far as having presence in the lane and being able to poke at the enemies. So they will have that at the very least, and it's a pretty nice combination with the Legion Commander. VP Polar, they had the puck banned out from them, so it's not going to be the VS puck opening, but Ogre Magi VS is also pretty good, especially when you're talking about countering a Legion Commander. Swap is absolutely killer.
Definitely. Well, Virtus Pro Polar, I would like to see them go for that Venge, but if they don't, there's still some pretty hard-hitting cores left inside the pool. Death Prophet, but no surprises there. It is going to be the Vengeful Spirit for them. Probably one of the best ones left available, and Ogre Magi and Venge, one of my favorite supporting duos. Buffing up your carry with extra attack speed and damage is never a bad thing, and Vengeful Spirit can make pretty much every carry that's in the current meta hit just insanely hard with the minus armor, as well as that bonus damage that comes through. In defensive swaps, you've already pretty much hit the nail on the head up against this Legion Commander and the Scarth Mage. Incredibly useful utility.
Reserve time. All right, so VP Polar, they have a lot of utility, and they also have quite a bit of magical burst damage, plus stuns everywhere. For Vega, they have a nice little partnership in the Legion Commander Scarth Mage. It's kind of similar to actually the Puck and the Vengeful Spirit in that the two heroes are perfectly self-sufficient, but they also work so much better when you partner them with each other. So both sides with a pretty powerful combination. I don't expect to see much support hate from VP Polar since Vega Squadron, well, all the really good supports are already out, are already picked out or banned out if you're talking about the Elder Titan. Shaker, Sand King, all these heroes are possibilities for Vega Squadron right now, but we're looking towards cores, and Death Prophet, Razor, Viper, all still in the pool, should all be in consideration.
Reserve time. Definitely. Right now, it's going to be a Phoenix ban from VPP. Huh. Okay, so this game around, maybe they're looking to pick up something that would actually be shut down by that Phoenix, but honestly, in lane up against an Ogre Magi and Vengeful Spirit, pretty much any +1 can make Phoenix fear for his life, even though not as good at zoning out that hero than the Scarth Mage. They definitely can do the job, so I don't think that's really the hero to have on that ban slot.
5 seconds. Yeah, it wasn't really that scary for Virtus Pro Polar in the last game, and with Vengeful Spirit Ogre Magi, they will have just as much in order to shut him down. So it's kind of a bummer seeing both Broodmother and Phoenix being banned out by VPP, but Slark certainly is a little bit more understandable. It's very difficult to lock down. Phoenix is slightly difficult to lock down, but not impossible. As far as hard countering heroes, Phoenix is pretty good against just raw right-clickers, but that's about it, just the Fire Spirits. Tidehunter are going to take the boot from Vega Squadron after having banned out that Ember, and then they pick up a Phantom Assassin, so they're going to have a little bit of late game, but then again, it's going to be going up against the Lycan late game, and that's comparable.
It definitely is, especially a Lycan backed up with the extra damage coming out from Lycanthrope, or, Vengeful Spirit and Bloodlust from the Ogre Magi. Phantom Assassin is going to be a pretty useful hero for Vega Squadron to have. A man fighting the Lycanthrope, especially if an MKB isn't involved, could be pretty impactful, but then again, I don't know, Vega Squadron, they seem to be relying very heavily on these dual as well as Mystic Flare pickups in order to get their team off the ground.
Yeah, with Phantom Assassin adding a little bit more damage in that, maybe Vega Squadron are going to want to veer off into a mag kind of pick, because they do have already 2 melee cores, and when you have those 3, you will be able to do some serious damage with Empower, and RP also will help a lot in doing so. So that might be where Vega Squadron want to head towards their draft. For VPP, they have a Lycan who's going to be Bloodlusted, which is absolutely freaking terrifying. They don't really have the most pushing power in the world, but honestly, you don't really have to go deep into the pushing if you want to actually do a little bit of pushing with Lycan. They could just sit with Lycan, or they could decide for Nature's Prophet 4th pick. Either way, it would be pretty decent for them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, for Vega Squadron, if they want to play things safe, they can always just go for their next support. Although, a lot of the supports that we're used to seeing, like a Sand King Earthshaker, could get things a little bit crowded for Vega Squadron. I'm leaning towards the Sand King if they want to go for the SKES, or one of those two.
Yeah, I think those would be pretty good for them. I generally do like the Sand King a little bit more, just that's the way I am. I feel like he has a lot easier ways to contribute than the Earthshaker, but either way, Vega Squadron do still need one more support hero, and doesn't seem like there's a really clear pickup here. As far as putting more damage into the duel, you could always find heroes, and like there's one of them right there, the Witch Doctor. Death Ward duel is pretty nice, and Cask is actually pretty good against Lycan. If he's messing with his wolves a little bit, you'll be able to get a couple stuns here and there. So overall, a pretty nice pickup for Vega Squadron. At the very least, it's a ranged support hero.
Yeah. Right now, Vega Squadron, they are lacking a little bit of wave clear. Overwhelming odds as well as Paralyzing Cask are okay. But up against a Lycanthrope push, it's not really going to stop it that much. Honestly, the Cask is probably the most useful of tools, just so you have that long duration stun on all of the summons. Either way, VPP do have plenty of room to think of these next couple of cores. For offlane, I think pick Magnus or Centaur, just one of those. Would be really nice for Virtus Pro, depending on what they want to end up going for, or what role they want to play. Batrider is also available and could be an option.
Batrider, Razor Viper, all still in the pool. And as far as heroes that are just so powerful that they don't really have to fit in your draft to be doing well, those are definitely the heroes you want, especially going up against two, pure right-click based heroes in PA. Legion Commander Razor seems like a pretty darn good pick here for Virtus Pro Polar. Their lanes could fit that in, put Lycan towards the mid lane, as I expect he was going to go anyway, and then have a Vengeful Spirit, Ogre Magi, Razor, Aggressive tri-lane, and that is difficult to beat. Like, Vega Squadron have decent heroes to try to withstand that, but good luck doing so. Instead, it's going to be a Batrider. Still, the Razor is available if they really want it.
Yeah. Even though Batrider doesn't benefit very heavily from the attack speed of Ogre Magi's Bloodlust, being able to pull them from here to Kingdom Come is always nice, and since you have the Vengeful Spirit on your side, you don't need to really worry about Vega Squadron going for anything to really cancel or even interrupt that Batrider's lasso. Paralyzing Cast can be okay duel if you get a really clean initiation, or Scarith Mage if you're in position, but more often than not, Batrider is going to be able to find the jump on whoever he wants to, and if he takes out one of the Witch Doctor or Scarith Mage, that's a lot of Vega Squadron's damage potential down the drain, unless Legion Commander or Phantom Assassin get absolutely fat.
Yeah, and that is always a possibility, but they're going to need a lot of help if they're actually going to get to that stage, as they're going to have to overcome Vengeful Spirit, Ogre Magi's early game, and Lycan's mid game. So it's going to be possible if they find a couple of duel opportunities early on, get Legion Commander a quick plus 20 damage, could very easily get out of control for VPP. But even if that is the case, Batrider initiation in the late game can just put all of that down the drain, since it's like, oh, you have a 6-slot Legion Commander? It would be a shame if she were to get lassoed out of her base and then picked off. So it is always possible for VPP to overcome that, though it's probably a situation that they're going to try to avoid through early game presence in the Vengeful Spirit, Ogre Magi. These two heroes can roam very aggressively. Lycan can't really help out that much. Batrider can. So VPP, they do have some options there. Looks like VP are actually going to respect Vega Squadron's last game a little bit more than I expected.
Well, it could also just be them banning out things that Vega Squadron are comfortable with playing. Even if it wasn't very impressive last game, there is definitely something to be said for just bread and butter heroes that the team likes running. So I'm not exactly sure if that would be Vega Squadron's direction. Right now, we're probably looking at some sort of farming hero, either in the mid or safe lane. Legion Commander kind of feels like she's going to be going towards the offlane, but I don't know. As far as the offlaner pool that's left available, there is still a Centaur if they want to go for that, which combos decently well with their heroes, but instead they're the ones to go for the Magnus. Still have yet to see how these lanes are actually going to shake down for them. Legion Commander and Magnus are pretty interchangeable as far as offlane has been concerned. They function pretty much the same way, spamming out overwhelming odds or shockwave respectively to get CS. Magnus, although, is a little bit harder to kill with Skewer.
And they're going to get their cleave value for sure in this game. With Phantom Assassin, Legion Commander, there will be things to cleave, and though it is not necessarily a Chronosphere, it's not necessarily a Ravage, RP into Death Ward or RP into Mystic Flare, if it does land, is going to hit VP very, very hard. That could instantly get you kills, if not instantly win you fights. So it's always a finicky hero, Magnus, since if you botch your initiation, then you're more on the useless side than on the useful side. But I think this pick for Vega Squadron is fine, assuming their lanes work out. It is possible that we're just going to see dual lanes for them, but VP, they're going to go for Templar Assassin last. I assume well, I have no idea, actually. They have so much flexibility in their lanes, but dual lanes for Vega Squadron, though it's possible, it's very easily punishable by VP.
It definitely is. Templar Assassin as Virtus Pro's last pick is going to mean that they're doing an absolute truckload of damage. But already, I like Vega Squadron's lineup a lot better than what we saw last game. They have two pretty clean ways to start fights once the Blink Daggers come out, and that's probably going to be our biggest point of contention. Although before that, it's probably going to be Virtus Pro Polar's supports to look for the rotations and set the pace if they can, depending on how well they zone out the offlaner. That said, we are going to get into this game. FNG is going to be playing on the Vengeful Spirit, heading towards the safe lane, followed by Lil on the Ogre, and Illidan Stormrage on the farming Lycanthrope. Templar Assassin in mid, played by DK Phobos, leaving last but not least our Batrider by Mag on the offlane.
And on the Vega side, top lane, it's going to be Seaman the Slayer's Witch Doctor, joined by Arzeek's Scareth Mage. They're both going to be supporting Stallioner's Phantom Assassin, with no one on the mid lane Mag, and bottom lane Afterlife is going to be playing the Legion Commander with a pretty sick weapon. I think that Observer Ward was spotted out, and if there are any sentries here, which they don't have, then, well, it's going to stick for now. So Legion Commander, she's going to be a little bit safer because of this Observer Ward, but still, this is not a safe lane for her.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. Batrider is looking to clear out the trees with a secondary Firefly, or yeah, that's his second Firefly of the game. Started out from the gates to get this word out ASAP, and he was successful in doing so, although it might be dewarded. I don't think there's any sentries so far on Arzeek or on the Scareth Mage, and neither of them have money to purchase that up as well. This is going to mean that stacking these camps is a tad easier for them, but they don't have anybody that can really abuse that. Maybe every once in a while the supports can look for that double stack, but it's pretty unlikely. The Courier is going to be bringing out sentries. It's going to be sent the way of the Magnus, at least one of them, to deal with the TA in mid.
Or it's just going to go all the way to the bot lane, or it's just going to die. Oh, this is like never going to happen ever. Oh, please, no. Let it not be so. Courier, the Jukes, Ogre Magi Illusions, they're at 345 movement speed. They can't quite catch up. That could have been absolutely disastrous. Like, it does not get any worse than that.
Oh my goodness, that little parrot did not know it was coming. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the interaction is with the double damage on melee heroes and illusions. It's unlikely it would have died, but still, that could have been... It would have been really bad. That would have been your sentries denied, and even with that Courier surviving, the sentries are still going to be a little bit delayed, although eventually they'll land into Afterlife. He's going to place one in lane. Very peculiar. The Wolves aren't invis yet, just looking to see if he can deny out a lane ward from the enemy team, but for now the ward is well out of sentry range.
Yeah, he got that one. He got intel on that one because he had the Observer Ward placed before, and so far there's no sentries coming out from the VP Polar side, so this Legion Commander is pretty much doing everything that she can do in order to try to keep herself safe in lane. She's going to have a lot more flexibility to move around, try to steal some creeps as she just tried to. I think she got a creep there. So Legion Commander's going to not be having the best time on this bottom lane, but for sure she's going to try to do what she can in order to try to not have a terrible time. And that should just be par for the course for the remainder of the game. Over towards mid, we have a fairly even lane, the Templar Assassin and Mag. It does get better for the Templar Assassin as this lane progresses. Mag will be able to blast it with Shockwave pretty much all the time, and he should be fine in that regard. Top lane, it's going to be 3 versus 0, and that should be an easy one lane for Vega, as Mag is currently just full-on jungling.
Yeah, not sure if I like this choice going out from Mag. He's going to get his level 2 decently fast, and as far as jungle farm for Batrider is concerned, he's doing well for himself with a triple stack, but honestly, I think he could have at least gotten level 2, maybe even 3 out of the lane. This way, they're going to forfeit the tier 1 tower, and Virtus Pro Polar, they're not idiots. They know exactly what they were doing when they signed up for it. With the Voodoo Restoration to sustain through us, it's going to be a very early tower going the way of Vega.
Right, and the scary thing is that Batrider at this point, though he may want to go for a little bit more experience in leveling up on that top lane, he will probably have his hands full with the jungle. Lil's going to get screwed back in the mid lane, taking quite a bit of damage from a DD no one. Here comes DK Phobos from behind with Refraction and Meld. Shockwave. Is this going to hit? Is this going to kill him?
This is like the worst time for a pause. If he...
It will kill him if it hits. And I think it will hit.
Okay, so I think...
Hold your breath, guys.
To not be BM, Lil should just die and get hit by the shockwave. Because that's a stupid time to pause. Wait, that was his teammate pausing. Never mind. Why?
Raise your dog faces.
Afterlife... Okay, so Afterlife is jungling, and he paused.
Okay, here we go. I'm pretty sure Ogre's just dead here. Got him. Got him, guys.
Okay. Well, that's your first blood. My goodness.
Okay, wait. Secondary question. Is Mag dead here? Because DK Phobos still has more offensive refraction charges. I think he needs 2 more hits to get this kill. I think no one is also dead.
I think he is. But he got the first blood, and now is time to prep your panic buys. Get the boots.
Boots magic stick?
I think
1
so.
hit? Oh, it needs 3 hits, actually. With the bottling up, no one's actually going to survive. Okay, so that was not where I had my money, but Mag, certainly a lot tankier than I thought. 5 armor is going to do quite a bit of work for you.
Yeah, the Meld Strike minus armor was wearing off, so I suppose that's what's even... I don't know, no one is going to be very happy with that exchange. And double damage rune definitely paying off after that nice skewer under tower from the Ogre Magi, although... it was very comical how it actually went down. Batrider dropping low, but that's kind of to be expected inside the jungle. Is leveling comparably to the Leech Commander. In fact, a lot better. Afterlife has also gone all the way into his own jungle.
And jungling Legion Commander, jungling Batrider certainly does get a better edge in that. As soon as he hits his level 6, he can help out. Whereas for Afterlife, yeah, you will be able to technically help out with the level 6 duel, but you're going to be relying purely on your supports in order to do the damage there. Legion Commander is more of a slow and steady jungler, whereas Batrider is a little bit more explosive. Either way, it's going to be both offlaners leaving their respective lanes. Illidan's going to be getting free farm down towards bottom, and Stallion is going to be getting free farm up towards top. Pretty much the exact same thing that happened last game, and we saw how well that worked out in the last game for Vega. However, again, we have a situation where Lycanthrope, he's getting free farm, and he could actually make use of his farm a lot earlier than a Phantom Assassin can.
Definitely. Currently sitting on almost 1,600 gold. Presumably just going to be a very early Vlad's for Illidan. Although, in a free lane, it is really hard to resist the temptation to go for Midas. And I couldn't really fault him for going for Midas this game. But definitely wouldn't have been my personal choice. And I would like to just see him look for earlier pushes. Mag dropping low again, but now level 4 on the Batrider and about halfway towards his Blink Dagger. Doing just fine this jungle, although he drops down to 5 HP after that troll does smack him.
You know, assuming Lil doesn't die right now, I actually like what VP are doing right now. They know that they can't really get too much up on this top lane. Their Batrider is going to be continuously jungling because it does get easier for him as time progresses, and this is going to let Ogre Magi get actually quite a bit of experience. FNG is in the meantime on the bottom lane, also getting a whole lot of experience just through the pulling and stuff, so the supports from VPP are actually doing quite well for themselves, whereas Arzeek, he's more on the roaming path, and the Witch Doctor's getting pull experience, but VP Polar have 5 heroes that are all actively gaining experience in gold. Whereas Vega, they only have 4, 3-ish. So for VP, they're definitely doing well in splitting their resources.
Yeah, it is going to be Midas for the Lycanthrope when you can get it at 5 minutes. I can't really fault Illidan for going for this choice, and it is going to mean that he gets that Necronomicon 3 after the Vlads and treads faster, if that is, in fact, the build he goes for this game. And Stallioner going for power treads
Mid
is going to be fine. Skewer back. They found themselves DK Phobos and completely tapped him at trying to bottling up. Can't do it. Scarth Mage draws that blood, and it's going to be 2-0 in the favor of Vega.
Random RP as soon as Magnus hits level 6, and Templar Assassin with only 1 point side blades can't keep herself at a safe enough distance in order to effectively dodge that skill. So Templar Assassin's going to take a fall over towards mid. Arzeek going to get some much needed experience, and Vega looking a lot better in this game than the last, though it is still VP Polar just in their laning stage, and this is probably where they want to be avoiding all these conflicts. We haven't really seen that many rotations from FNG and Lil. They've been trying to poke around occasionally, but it has not resulted into much of anything. The pressure has been pretty much non-existent on Vega's side lanes, so the support here is definitely not as active as we really expected.
Definitely. Looks like the first major tick for aggression is going to be like your Batrider and his Blink Dagger. He does back off for Tranquil Boots first, so it's going to delay the Blink a little bit, but it's still going to be an admirable time for the Batrider to look for the gank, expecting it before 9 minutes, and that's probably being a little bit conservative.
Lil up towards top is getting hit with the double slow. Where's the Phantom Assassin? There she is with the blink strike forward. Will get stunned under tower, but she has 1 point in meld, and that's going to be enough. With another dagger throw, Ogre is going to go down. Stallion not taking that much damage from said tower because of the poor man's shield plus blur, so it's going to be a clean kill up towards the top lane. Ogre Magi, though, is getting a little bit more experience. The wave has now been sufficiently pushed out because of the pulls of the Vega side, so experience and gold no longer a possibility for Ogre up towards top. In fact, I don't even think he should go back up there without some more backup. Seems unnecessarily dangerous.
Definitely. Well, I think he'd be better served just buddying up with the Vengeful Spirit, but they are trying to, like, drain every drop of farm out of this map. And even though, on paper, there's 0 and 3, it's still looking okay for them. Currently, the net worth and experience graphs are more or less completely zeroed out. VP Polar have a slight lead when it comes to levels.
And in just a little bit of gold, 400 in fact. Mag will have his Blink Dagger, and then VP Polar can actually start doing things. Lycan at that point is going to be able to do some pretty serious pushing. He might actually have his Vlads by that time, assuming the Batrider farms a little bit slower than Illidan is right now. Illidan is just pure ancienting right now. There's no one on the bottom lane. He could be down there right now farming, but instead he's chilling and waiting. This is kind of weird. Oh no, no, what are you doing up there, man? Missed skewer, and now FNG actually doesn't have a magic missile, so the mag is going to get out of there, but I guess not too much was lost or gained from either side in that exchange.
If FNG had a magic missile, that would have been hilarious. Yeah, just Magnus tasting a little bit of his own medicine, but he'll be able to make it back towards mid soon enough. Either way, Mag is sitting on enough gold to purchase up that Blink Dagger, as well as the smoke, so I assume that's going to be the move. And where is he actually going to go with this one? Templar, or Phantom Assassin, excuse me, is looking like a pretty good target if they want to go for a Stallion, or although not the easiest one, and probably will need some backup.
All right, and Lycan, right now, he's just farming away as well, so it is soon to be possible that VP Polar are actually going to get something going. I think it's most likely going to be on no one that they'd make the jump in, and Mag, if he doesn't see this one coming, and right now he shouldn't since there's no vision, he probably will be going down. No, Mag is heading towards the mid lane to kill off the Mag, and assuming, well, actually, never mind, he's gone, so there's no more kills here.
Yeah, for now, Mag is going to smoke up with FNG. There is a very deep ward placed by the Dire that spots out the Ogre. Oh dear. Oh,
nope, good. I
no,
think
we're
good.
not.
No?
Oh, wait, so we actually did drop frames there. Sorry, you actually just missed 2 seconds of video time. Blink Lasso onto our Zeke. It is going to be the Scarth Mage. Melded down, he's going to be dropped inside the fire of the Batrider. Swap back onto no one. He'll be able to get the skewer onto 2. Has an RP, will commit it, but there's not a lot of follow-up for this. The TP is very delayed. Overwhelming odds onto 3 as well. Going to drop FNG incredibly low. Still surviving at about 40 HP, but will be dropped by the Phantom Assassin and her Stifling Dagger. Going aggressive onto DK Phobos. They blink forward onto the TA, and now with the Stifling Dagger going to Mel dodge a little bit of that. No, I just believe it was absorbed by the refraction, but either way, DK Phobos will be able to make it out there alive. I have no idea what's going on technically today, but apparently my ISP decided that right now was a good time to cut out the internet for a couple seconds.
Well, it's a good thing that nothing actually happened, so they didn't actually miss that much. Should have caught up by the time that Batrider gang came in, and though the lasso did get a kill, it was on a Scarth Mage, and then the Vengeful Spirit made a pretty crucial error. It is certainly tantalizing to say, hey, I have another swap. There's a hero right there. Let's go for the kill. But there are 2 things that you never do in Dota. You never bring back a Mag into your team. You never bring back a Tide Hunter into your team. And, well, she just did that to the Mag. So, fortunately for VP, they only lose 1 hero there. A skewer back into a tower with an RP backup, it's very hard to actually escape from that. Templar Assassin is probably one of the few that can. So, VP Polar should be pretty thankful in the fact that they didn't lose 2 heroes there. They only lost 1.
Yeah, Illidan Stormrage now has enough money to purchase up his Power Trust if he wants them, but does have the Vladimir's offering. And Mag, with 3 points up in the Wave of Terror, as well as 1 point up into the Aura, they can feasibly look for a Roshan, especially since RP's down for 30 seconds. That's probably enough time for them to take it if they were doing Rosh immediately. But either way, Illidan is farming up an absolute storm. 89 CS at 11 minutes in, and you can't really ask for much more, especially since he has a Midas ticking away.
I can't think of any reason why VP Polar are still not putting anyone on the bottom lane. Like, they have an Observer Ward there. they should have someone farming there. I guess they want to hide the farm of Illidan, but I don't really know how valuable that is. No one in the mid lane is going to get jumped. Magic Missile has already been used. This Mag pretty tanky. Now Stalianor's going to jump right in with the Death Ward as well. Mag going to take quite a bit of damage, but Multicast and Stalianer will hold him out for a little bit longer. Mag's going to get dueled, and then he will be dropped shortly after. They just don't have enough damage to actually kill off this Mag, but Arzeek, what are you doing here? He's going to get chomped by wolves. Now Seema's going to be the next one to fall. He's going to try to fight FNG, but that's not really a fight that he could take with the rest of VP Polar right behind him. Stalianer, now completely surrounded, is going to also die. Vega, I don't know what the plan was there, but as soon as they saw a shapeshifted Lycan, they should have gotten the hell out.
Yeah, Vengeful Spirit is going to survive on double digits HP. Invisrin's going to save no one, skewers over the top just to be safe. But I believe that was just a swap that got the 4th Skywrath Mage completely out of position. Then Vega had a little bout with Save Your Buddy syndrome and just kind of stuck around a little bit too long.
Right, so it is going to ultimately result in VP taking a much better fight than they really should have, assuming Vega were, you know, just happy losing that Skywrath Mage and then backing off shortly after. Still, the Lycan's just farming those Ancients. Someone should be going down to the bottom lane now, for sure. I mean, there's no one here. And there's a lane here, guys. This is where the gold is.
Yeah, that's at least 20 CS that Virtus Pro Polar have just kind of let sit. They might not have gotten all of those, especially if it was one of the sports down there, but that could be your Ogre finishing up Soul Ring at the very least, and then working towards a little bit more. You can't really fault Lil since he's farming top, but the Vengeful Spirit or the Bat Rider, just anybody should be taking up the gold there. Force Staff would have been the more immediate item for Bat Rider to pick up if he had that lane farm.
And now he's going to make his way down there, but as soon as he shows his face, Vega are in mid as a group of 4. They're going to look to initiate on DK Phobos. They'll get the RP in, but no one can't get around to skewer him back. In fact, doesn't have his mana. Will it matter, though? It won't, because of the Mystic Flare as well as the Death Ward. Really no shot for anyone to survive that. Templar Assassin going to take a fall. That is a lot of ultimates down from Vega, and their pushing power isn't that high with their heroes. So VP Polar, they're not going to lose anything else. It was a very expensive gank for Vega, but I think they're going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so as well. There's not really much else that they'd be using those ultimates for, and as far as ultimate cooldowns are concerned, the ones that they used aren't the greatest. RP is the one that they're going to have to wait for the most, but that's going to be up in a minute anyway. For now, VPP, they do have a small opening where they can look for a lasso initiation where Vega aren't going to have that RP or anything of the sorts to counter-initiate against it. But looks like it's just going to be them passively farming yet again. There's a concussive shot silence on the FNG with Stalianer blinking in here. FNG is going to be crit down, and now Vega, they're going to blink into the Roshan pit, but don't do anything after the fact. They'll give him power to a Stalianer so he can farm up this Ancient stack.
Alright, so a nice easy kill on FNG, and that's kind of the price you pay as being a Vengeful Spirit ever, especially up against the Phantom Assassin, who's going to be able to do some pretty serious damage. And, well, speaking of Phantom Assassin, she has level 1 Empower, and she's using that Empower to clear off a 2-stack of Ancients, with a couple crits here and there, and the Helm of the Dominator. Phantom Assassin now going to get quite a large infusion of gold. Isn't quite at the top of the net worth chart because the Lycan has been cheating and working with the Hand of Midas. But still, the Phantom Assassin Mag not doing too terribly for themselves. Vega with a 3-kill advantage. And so far, VP Polar have yet to get any pushing going. This is kind of surprising because they do have a Lycan on their team.
Yeah, and well, Lycan, his build is actually going to be pretty peculiar. It looks like we're going to see an Assault Cuirass for Illidan Stormrage, foregoing the usual Necronomicon or even BKB. BKB this game isn't very great up against Vega, to be fair, and I was just expecting him to go for the Necro book. But either way, the ore is going to be really nice for his team, and the minus armor that they'll have is pretty immense. With TA, Enter Meld, as well as the Wave of Terror, you're going to be dropping people incredibly low. There is a Death Ward in mid, lands onto do. The last is going to pull back Seam of the Slayer, but with no follow-up onto that one. It's just a clean kill onto the Vengeful Spirit to start things off. RP now solo into Mag with a Mystic Flare and Ancient Steel to follow up. It's going to be an easy kill there. Illidan Stormrage munching onto the backline. It's going to crit down one. Now into Arzeek. He's going to munch it. It's a double kill for Illidan. Now the only one surviving is no one. Blink up to the high ground, and he does have a skewer cooling down, so it'll be more than fine. But the tier 1 tower in mid, I can't say the same for that. It will be pushed down by VP Polar.
It looked so great for Vega. They got the kill on the VS. They got the kill on the Bat Rider with the RP Mystic Flare. They're going to try to skewer back Illidan Stormrage. They have a TP coming in. It's going to be the Phantom Assassin, but this is going to be a 3 versus 2 that she probably does not want to fight in. Illidan Stormrage is going to make short work of the Mag. Now heading on to Stalianer, who's being focused down by DK Phobos. I don't think they have enough damage to actually kill his hero off, especially not with the respawns of Vega. The TP in from the Witch Doctor, TP out from everyone else from VP, and they should be just fine. But, man, again, as soon as you see that shape-shifted Lycan barreling towards you, plus a Templar Assassin, That's the damage of VP Polar, and if you already have used your RP and your Mystic Flare and your Death Ward, then really there's no chance for you there. You just have to get out or die, and they stuck around for just a little bit too long. Granted, these heroes can close distances very quickly, so maybe there was no chance for Vega to escape. But either way, VP make a very nice trade in sacrificing their Bat and their Venge to pull out all the dangerous skills so that their carries can actually clean up.
Yeah, and it's working wonders for VPP. Another one of those heroes that you don't really want to be man-fighting up against, even as a Phantom Assassin with 1 point in Blur. That's not really enough, and PA, Stellionair's going for a very early game-centric build. There's going to be a Blink Lasso on bottom. Poor RZ had not a chance in the world. He's going to be dropped down, even though the Magic Missile was layered with the Lasso. Ends up just being a little bit of extra burst damage. They do have 1 stack of damage on the Leech Commander, but that was forever ago, and they haven't gotten any since the Blink, and they're looking to remedy that. Trying to hunt down poor FNG, and well, the Vengeful Spirit might get caught out here. Just a little too slow on the Venge, and it looks like FNG is going to be at the receiving end of a Blink Lasso, or maybe it's going to be Mag. They're going to do him up straight up, then there's going to be a crit. Not enough, however, the defensive swap's going to at least deny the damage from the enemy team, but Mag will drop down to an overwhelming odds of the Leech Commander. In the end, that's probably okay for VPP. 2 of their cores committed quite a lot of time. Now DK Phobos on the run from the Magnus and company. They're going to blink forward. They RP, but DK Phobos is invis. Do they have any detection? They don't. So we're going to have to wait for the next barrage of spells, and DK Phobos probably needs to just refract and get out of there. Okay, refract number 1, meld again. They don't have detection, but they have a Mystic Flare, and that's good enough.
It's actually kind of surprising that not only did they not have detection there, they don't have detection on any of their heroes at all. So that Phantom Assassin was inevitably going to die to random shockwaves, Mystic Flares, and overwhelming odds. But, man, she lasted a lot longer than she really should have. Vega, right after, going to go into that Roshan pit. It is going to be scouted out by FNG, but there's not really much that he could do about this. In fact, he's going to retreat. It's going to be a clean Aegis for Vega after taking a couple of kills here and there. So VP Polar, they're liking, not really sure what he was doing. Looks like he was preoccupied with the top lane. He's an Assault Cuirass, so his pushing power is pretty darn high right now, but I don't know if he could outrace the entirety of the Vega side. However, it's not going to happen because over towards mid, Seamus there is going to get multicasted after being lassoed. Swap back onto Stellionair, Magic Missile to follow up, but he has an Aegis, and he has pressed the attack to get him out of there. It's just going to be 1 kill for VP Polar, but with the lasso, that's really what you expect. Top lane is going to be destroyed as well by Illidan. Now trying to chase after no one. Not going to make that one happen, but a tower and a kill, kind of redeeming the fact that they had a kind of bad play over towards bottom. But FNG, what are you doing in the middle lane? You should not be there. He's going to get dueled, and he will very quickly take a fall.
Yeah, that is only the 2nd stack of damage for Afterlife, and even though it's not bad for the Leech Commander, it's not great either. An extra 20 at this point is more or less negligible. Right now, it's still VP Polar to be kind of in the driver's seat, especially Illidan. Currently almost 3,500 ahead of the next highest farm in this game, and it's going to get even worse as our Zeke is going to get munched down. Ultimate comes out by the Lycan before the silence could come out from the Scarith Mage, and honestly, even without the ultimate, Lycan's still able to completely crunch him. Stellionair is going to eat 1 attack from the Lycanthrope, doesn't crit, and also 1 miss is going to mean that he's completely fine.
Right. Illidan Stormrage, he's gone for the Assault Cuirass, and I think the logical item progression afterwards is going to be the MKB, just so he could bypass that blur. And then we have ourselves a situation where this is, I mean, he is a Lycan, but he doesn't really have a pure Lycan build, doesn't have the Zoo going for himself. Regardless, it is still going to be pretty effective at killing off people. So Illidan Stormrage is pretty much on track. He's right where he wants to be. For Vega, they have a Phantom Assassin who, as you said, has gone for this early game or mid-game centric build, and I think it's working out pretty decently for her as well. She's getting quite a bit of farm, so even though it is Sanjay Asha, Helm of the Dominator, she will be able to transition that into bigger items down the line because 4-1-4, a whole bunch of CS, she's getting enough farm to do so. So I would say both teams are pretty happy with where they are right now. VP Polar, they have a little bit of an easier time breaking out of this because they have the Bat Rider, and the cooldown on Lasso kind of dictates the pace of the game for you, and it's very hard to avoid that. Mag is going to jump in for Mag, and then Fire Blast, 1-2 multicast, Magic Missile to follow up. RP was used onto absolutely no one. What the hell was that? But FNG is going to focus down now by Stellionair. He's going to take a quick fall. Still the Aegis is up on the Phantom Assassin. Death Ward is going to be challenging DK Phobos as well as the Mystic Flare and a duel. Stellionair is going to survive a little bit longer to get that assist. Then we'll take an Aegis nap as Illidan Stormrage going to shapeshift, trying to go for Stallion. Fire Blast 1 will not multicast, and Stallion is going to jump his way out of there. Now is going to be chased down by Illidan Stormrage. Potentially he's going to circle around and look for Seema. The Witch Doctor is a much easier target, and it looks like Witch Doctor is going to take a fall soon. Yes, he's going to get munched down by the Wolf. Stallion are going to try to chase forward for Illidan Stormrage. Now out of the shapeshift, he might have to turn and fight. But Stallion is doing way too much damage right now. Multicast and Stallion were to hold him out a little bit, but Illidan Stormrage still trying to make his retreat. Afterlife doesn't have a duel. Doesn't matter, he'll get the kill anyway. That's going to be 2 cores down, and Vega, they only lose their Witch Doctor. Didn't they lose someone else? I don't know, but still, it's going to be a beneficial trade for Vega.
My goodness, with RP, win fight is pretty much the story of that last engagement for Vega. I expected that to go so much worse, and probably not for any good reason other than that when your RP hits nothing, that's your Magnus not really accomplishing much in that fight, but no one skates away on very low HP. For this pro, just weren't able to really get enough damage off of that fight. And even though Phantom Assassin falls, she had Aegis, and it was going to expire pretty soon anyway, in just about a minute's time, so no real damage done to Vega. It's going to be a basher next for Phantom Assassin, and she's one of the scariest heroes on this map, at least until Lycanthrope can get a Monkey King bar. He can't really deal with that PA. He does have the Demon however on the Courier.
I think the scary thing is for Vega is that they just took that fight pretty decently. They are 3 kills ahead. They probably feel like they're ahead. But VP Polar, they have the gold lead, they have the experience lead, and they have the advantage of having 2 hands of Midas ticking away on the Templar Assassin and the Lycan. So Vega, though they're doing okay right now, they have 3 stacks of damage on the Legion Commander. For 22 minutes, this is pretty much where you want to be as Legion Commander. They still have to do a lot better than this, just because if this game does get extended, if this does go super late, they will just drown in gold, as Templar Assassin and Lycan are going to be getting it in spades.
Definitely, and Templar Assassin up until this point really hasn't had the most impact. I don't know, just because TK Phobos did decide to go for the Midas, but is hitting incredibly hard even without Bloodlust, and the extra damage that they're getting from these supports is quite immense. 3 points up in the Bloodlust from Ogre Magi, as well as the Vengeful Spirit Aura, which is now maxed out. Vega, they do have an Alpha Wolf running around with them. Stallion does have that dominated for himself. And they have the Empower. So the steroids are still there for Vega, but I don't know, right now VPP, just because they have better ways to find fights, I think is why they'll be able to stay ahead, but we'll just have to see. For now, it's a tower trade. Tier 1 tower down bottom for Tier 2 tower up towards top.
And actually the Tier 2 tower up towards top is going to be defended by now. Skywrath Mage is going to teleport in. Looks like Lycan considering making the dive. But with no BKB is probably going to be better off not going in. And just as I say that, he decides to go in and tries to take the tower. There's backdoor protection here, so this tower is not going to fall. Illidan Stormrage not taking that much damage though because he has 28 armor. It's going to be Lil to run into both Afterlife and Stallion. This is going to be a very easy dual victory for Afterlife, claiming now 48 damage in total. Ogre Magi in the wrong place at the wrong time, and also FNG sticking around for a little bit too long. Bash? First hit bash? Nope. Oh, no bash needed, I guess. That's a lot of damage coming up from Stallion. Some RNG rolls were going to land one way or another.
Yeah, that was a double crit if my ears don't deceive me from Stallion, so that's going to be a pretty easy kill for them. And even though this Legion Commander hasn't had the greatest of times and did start out pretty slow, Afterlife is now completely caught up and is at 48 damage, which is pretty much as prescribed for this point in the game. Even though her net worth doesn't really back it up, Legion Commander is still a blinking duel, which is definitely acceptable.
And as long as Afterlife just sticks with Stallion the entire time, I don't think... Maybe they can't kill off the Lycan, but everyone else is certainly going to be vulnerable. Lycan, speaking of, is going to hit with an RP as he tries to go for RZ, and eat a full-on Mystic Flare, and looks like the damage will be enough. My god, level 2 Mystic Flare is a balanced skill. Lycan, with so much HP, so much armor, Skywrath Mage doesn't give a damn about your armor. He's going to take a quick fall, and that is really not supposed to be happening for Lycan. VP Polar can't afford to be losing that hero at all, because they're also being pressured over towards mid. They're going to get the last one to Stallion, however, Press the Attack is going to break that immediately. Fire Blast not going to multicast, and the tower will be taking a fall one way or another. Actually, Stallion are going to bypass the tower, try to go for Mag, get stunned up by FNG. There's also a swap that they have to work through, but Batrider up towards the high ground is going to try to run away, but Firefly in the Blade Mail is actually doing quite a bit of damage to the Bat. Not lethal, but Stallion is still in the air. He's going to crit down FNG. 800 easy, going to get that kill. Now he's going to get pressed the attack one more time. Tower has fallen, and because Vega have gotten these kills, they could go for a little bit more.
Yeah, and that little bit more is going to come very easy for them. The pick up on the Lycanthrope probably really crucial for this next engagement for VPP. The lasso also being purged off. Not an interaction you think about immediately when you look at Legion Commander, but effectively works like in Baden with that heal, and probably a better one at that.
It's an Abaddon that could actually smash things, and if you go for a DPS build, people won't flame you for it. So they have that added bonus as well, and that's going to make it so that Batrider has to lasso the Legion Commander or lasso no one at all. Because if he jumps in and just randomly casts it on whoever is closest, assuming the Legion Commander is nearby, he's not going to get it off. DK Phobos going to run into no one. There is no RP for 15 seconds, but they have a lot of backup. Abyssal Blade and DK Phobos, he's going to get skewered out a little bit, but just a little bit. Magnus is going to steal that kill, and Afterlife is now up to 62 damage.
Yeah, and it's pretty insane how much damage these heroes are able to put out. Now with the Abyssal Blade on the PA, VPP, they need to be very careful. Scarlet Mage, not so careful down in bottom, is going to just be lassoed up and brought down very quickly by the Venge combination. But now with the Phantom Assassin inbound, if they catch eyes on the FNG, FNG is completely screwed. Let's see if he's going to be able to make his way out to safety. No Blink Dagger, FNG is dead, one way or another. There you go.
And poor Vengeful Spirit doesn't have anywhere to run, doesn't have anywhere to hide. And, well, no TP either. Didn't really have a chance to escape that. It's going to be another couple of kills. Afterlife over towards mid. It's going to take a little bit of damage. MKB is now completed by the Lycan, but he has been kind of just AFK farming. Maybe split pushing a little bit on the top lane, but Illidan certainly has not been as active as Stallianer has. This is the type of play that you need to kind of execute when you go for this Sanjin Yasha Helmet Dominator build on PA. You want to be active, and she has been active, very active in fact. 917 in this game has been setting up for most of the dual kills for the Legion Commander, whereas Lycan has been AFK farming. The Templar Assassin has kind of been AFK farming as well. This might just be them boiling under the surface, as maybe at a certain point they're going to decide to fight and decide to participate, and then Vega are not going to see this one coming. But for right now, Vega, they have what it seems to be complete control of the map.
Yeah, and with the heroes that they have, there's just not a clear course of action for VPP, especially with the build that Lycan's gone for. It's kind of a fighting build minus the BKB, which is probably okay this game, but they just haven't been able to find those fights, and he's been forced into pushing, which is usually what Lycan wants to do, but this build isn't really tailored towards it. Stellianer is going to get himself an Aegis after a very easy Roshan destruction with the DD on Noah, now hasted up. VP Polar need to be incredibly careful. If anybody gets spotted out, they are completely hosed. He does destroy a Sentry Reward, which if they're really paying attention, VPP will know Phantom Assassin is in this lane, and if nothing else, she just hits a couple of creeps.
And Vega, they're going to feel more than comfortable in order to go for this push. They have an RP and BKB on Magnus, so his RP is guaranteed, although he just previously casted a zero-man RP, so who knows? It might not hit anyone, but even if it does miss, they have a Witch Doctor right behind, they have Duel for extra lockdown with that Death Ward, and Stallianer could probably take a 1 vs 2 at this point, or just take a tower. Will this time be a tier 2 for tier 2 tower trade. Are Vega going to go for a little bit more? They have to worry about Lycan's pushing power, and it looks like Lycan, his strength is going to force one person back from Vega, and the rest are going to make their retreat as well. So it's just going to be a simple tower trade, but that's a lot more map control for Vega. And because they do have the duel and Legion Commander and the burst power of Phantom Assassin, more map control equals more opportunities for easy pickoffs.
Definitely, and, well, as far as items are concerned for Vega, that last push is going to secure you an Aghanim Scepter on your Witch Doctor. Ultimate from Illidan Storm Rage isn't going to save him from this, as he's critted down, and the Witch Doctor Ultimate survives! Unlike no HP, having that extra armor is apparently enough to save him. 650 movement speed is a lot. Ogre Jai is not going to be so lucky as he's dueled down towards bottom. Looks like they were potentially looking for some aggression of their own, and now looking potentially for a turn. They have a lasso available, and if they catch out our Zeke, it's going to be a Skywrath Mage for Ogre trade, but damage going the way of Vega. Concussive Shot going to land. He is currently trapped up by DK Phobos, now looking for a Meld Strike, not even going to use it immediately. Forces out the Ghost Scepter, and now they have the Batrider continuously chase him down. Secondary slow, there's your Meld, not even used because he's silenced up. There's Yo from the Legion Commander looking potentially to make a turn. Mag dropping low and probably is going to fall, but now with the lasso is going to delay this, but it doesn't stop Stallianer at all. Now going to be able to go for DK Phobos if they connect with anything. Currently it's Seema looking for an opening for the Paralyzing Cast, slows down FNG just a little bit, playing for the Stifling Dagger now, jumping in crit. It's the end of his life.
And DK Phobos is still here. Gotta run, man. Gotta run. There's a bash and a duel. DK Phobos has refraction up It might save her from this duel. Nope, big crit. Stalliona was just having a little bit of an unlucky streak there. It takes a hell of a long time, but Vega collect kill after kill after kill down towards this bottom lane. There are 2 duel wins, I believe, there for the Legion Commander now, all the way up to plus 94. And VP, they're just throwing themselves in one at a time. It's the worst way to fight, and they certainly should not be fighting this way in the future, especially up against the Phantom Assassin. Now their Lycan isn't split pushing enough to force Vega back. They're going to go for this high ground push.
They don't have creeps just yet, so they are fighting up against backdoor protection. Will mop up the creep wave, and now they have one of their own. Whiff is forced out, and they still have the Aegis on Stellianer, so they can continuously go for this. Virtus Pro Polar, on paper, I'd say their lineup's really good at isolating individual heroes from the enemy team, but they just don't seem to put everything together. Lil's on the front lines a little bit, and will probably drop an Ignite to force out the creep wave, but for now, Vega are actually going to pull back.
Alright, so Vega going to play it just a little bit safe, even though they have all of their big ultimates up. It looks like without Arzeek, they're unwilling to go for this push, and I think that's justifiable. They're still working up against 2 Hands of Midas, and there's soon to be a lot of damage on VP, but there was also a lot of gold on the Phantom Assassin. She's at 4,700 with the Abyssal already completed. She can go for pretty much anything she wants right now. Maybe complete up the Satanic, maybe go for Assault Cuirass, something like that for a little bit more attack speed. Probably not Butterfly. Over towards mid, they're going to look for Arzeek, and they're going to catch him. But FNG and Mag, I don't think are enough to kill off this Scarith Mage. In fact, they're going to turn things around onto FNG and annihilate the Vengeful Spirit. Bit off way more than they could chew. VP Polar, they have to be going for these ganks with either Illidan or DK Phobos in order to help out with the damage. Without those heroes, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and even on the squishiest target on the side of Vega, even the Witch Doctor is pretty hard to kill now. With Earn Power Treads and Agnum Scepter complete, sitting at a pretty moderate 1700 HP. Now with this Heaven's Halberd on the Legion Commander, BKB on the Lycanthrope, even though it's not something you want to go up against Vega's lineup, since they have plenty of ways to kill you even if you have that item, is going to end up hurting him quite a bit. They have Stellianer with a double damage rune and in power, just chunking down this tower. If anybody shows their face and they get crit, they're in for a bit of a nasty treat. Ogre Magi does have his Agnum Scepter completed, but it's only delaying this push. The Aegis is going to expire in just a couple of seconds. Phantom Assassin wants to use it now, but they're not killing her, and, well, in the end, I don't think it really matters. The melee barracks is taken, and Vega can just pull out.
And they will do just that. Mag's going to take this guy's look for a lasso, but doesn't have that one for another 5 seconds. It's going to be Seema to unfortunately take the bullet for the rest of the team. Poor Witch Doctor. Actually, that might be more because they have traps. They have a max movement speed, like, and even more than that. Actually, going to try to go for Arzeek, but he gets disarmed halfway. Someone has a Heaven's Halberd. Don't exactly know who. In the meantime, it's going to be Afterlife dueling DK Phobos. I don't know if Afterlife has enough. With an RP, it will be enough to actually win that duel for Afterlife. Plus, they get the follow-up kill on Vengeful Spirit right after. Stellianer is going to be brought down by Illidan, or at least drops very low. Illidan, though, out of the shapeshift form, cannot quite catch up. It's going to be Lil from over the tree line to get that kill. Now onto the Mag they go. They're going to get that kill as well as the one on the Skyroth Mage. Where is the Legion Commander? She's off, and it's going to be VP Polar finally taking a grouped up fight. It was very nice for them, but it might have come out a little bit too late.
Yeah, it probably did. It's a 2-for-4 trade, and on paper that looks really good for VPP, but then again they lost a melee barracks for it, so if VPP aren't able to do something in the next 50 seconds, could be huge. They'll find Afterlife on the sidelines. He doesn't have a duel, and it's probably just going to burn the fire and the flames. Hits a little a couple of times, going to drop him low, but with an earned charge they'll just kite him around, and that's going to be a full 5-ban wipe. Let's see if they're going to be able to use this to their benefit. They'll get a tier 2 tower in mid, more than likely. It's the Lycanthrope's pushing down that lane, and bottom they'll put some pressure there, but breaking high ground's another story. I don't think this transitions into racks.
Yeah, it's probably just going to result in this tier 2 tower, which is fine. I mean, taking a complete team fight and a tower is pretty good. Actually, Illidan Stormage looking for Seema. There is no more cask here for Seema. He already used it. He has another one right now. He's a couple creeps, but Illidan with the crits, my god. Poor Witch Doctor. Twice in a row now. Felt the wrath of the Lycan, so it's going to be 6 kills in total for VP Polar. They might not get this tower because Lycan is a little bit distracted, but they might get another kill. Arzeek showing his face. Will try for the deny, won't make it happen. So it's 6 kills and a tower destruction going the way of VP Polar. They are going to just fall back off of this, it looks like, but man, that was quite the series of events for VP Polar, and that's pretty much what I was talking about before. They haven't been fighting at their full strength for most of these fights. When they do decide to actually group up and take a full 5-on-5 fight, the results, I mean, they speak for themselves.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Ogre Magi has the Blink Dagger now, so maybe VPP are able to take these engagements, and they are starting to put things together. The Lycanthrope, now with a completed Abyssal Blade, if he wants to pick that up, and it looks like that's the choice, is quite possibly the scariest right-clicking Lycanthrope you've ever seen with his current build. You can't really go for much more damage than this, and those crits are absolutely immense, especially on like the Skywrath Mage and Witch Doctor. They just don't stand a chance up against Illidan. If he's able to get that right-clicking through the fights into the Phantom Assassin, could be huge, but up until this point, the Blink initiations from the Batrider haven't been followed up by Illidan's damage, and usually involves both of them going in solo, Batrider dying, and then Lycanthrope cleaning up. Roshan's going to be respawning sometime in the next 3 minutes. We don't know exactly when, but that's probably going to be our next major objective for both sides.
And this time, VP Polar, because they have won that previous team fight, they got a lot more pressure on the map. They were able to shove the lanes, and they were able to trap up Roshan, so they know exactly when he'll respawn, and Seema might be the casualty right before then. Actually, no, it's going to be a long Roshan, but Seema's still going to get torn to bits. Stallion is going to try to duel Illidan Stormrage. This is going to be a close one with an RP onto 2. It might actually be enough, but now with the lasso onto Stallion, is going to hold out most of the damage. Lil will take a fall, as well as Illidan Stormrage shortly after, because Vega bring in the cavalry, and they bring it in hard. Mag is now stuck in the trees. He has a Blink Dagger, and he will get to safety. It looks like he's going to be just fine. But man, Vega reinforcing a lot faster than VP Polar actually expected. It's going to make things a 2-for-1 trade overall. They bring down Illidan, and that is a very nice kill for Vega.
It really is, especially since Lycanthrope, after purchasing up that Abyssal Blade, is completely dry in gold. Looks like Vengeful Spirit was able to snipe out the Courier as it was looking to scout Roshan. So that's a little bit of something for Virtus Pro Polar, and well, actually Lycanthrope does have buyback now. Just had to wait for a little bit more tick gold.
I think it was actually the Courier gold that gave him buyback, so yeah. You'll never see that again, but shit, that is probably the most relevant Courier kill you're ever going to see. I don't think he's going to have to buy back, but if Vega, for some reason or another, they decide to just YOLO push the high ground, then well, they're going to be facing up against a Lycanthrope, and that might not be factoring into their calculations right now. They're going to go for the top lane tier 2. Should be a very easy one to take. Batrider is going to try to get a little bit of space over towards mid, but actually no, Vega, they are going to try to go for this one. DK Phobos is going to make his retreat back to the base. There's only 2 heroes here, so Vega are pretty much bluffing with this push.
Yeah. Well, let's just see how these next couple minutes of the game pan out. Lycanthrope is going to be able to hold on to his buyback, and that's good for him. They do have a blinking Leech Commander with 130 damage, so right now Leech Commander is pretty scary when it comes to right-clicking. Not as scary as the Phantom Assassin since there's no crits involved with that hero, but they're going to look towards the Roshan pit, and it's almost about to spawn up. Immediately as it does, the Templar Assassin is going to know as well, because there's the trap in the pit that hasn't been taken out by Vega. But there you have it, Roshan's available. Actually, that TA trap does not give vision directly onto Rosh, but will know when the enemy team comes into the pit.
Right, so VP Polar, they're going to stick around this area for sure. They have the Batrider on their team, but that's about it as far as their strength in the Roshan pit. Vega, they have an RP, they have a Phantom Assassin, very mobile, and they have a Death Ward. I would say if there is to come a Roshan fight, then Vega are just going to take that one very handily. Unless, you know, VP get the most perfect initiation, which might be happening right now. Mag's looking for a target. It's going to be poor Seema. Why is it always Seema? The Mystic Flare is going to drop. Mag's going to dodge most of that damage. Seema's going to get his Ghost Scepter out and will survive for a little bit longer, but Illidan now into the Wolf form is going to try to go for no one. Abyssal Blade's flying every which way. Swap back out of the RP from FNG. And that's going to be the Lycanthrope surviving for a little bit more. Now gets dueled against Afterlife. There's no Blade Mail here, and Afterlife is going to lose the duel, giving damage to the Lycan. The rest of the Vega side are also falling. It's going to be Mag to fall shortly after the PA. Seema and Arzeek, the last one's alive. Mag's going to buy back, but he has no backup here. He can't do anything. He's better cancel that TP, and he will do so. PA's back in this fight, but VP Polar, they haven't lost a single person.
Yeah, Lycanthrope is not looking too healthy, but then again, he's still available. He probably is just going to get some urns in the backlines, but the tier 3 tower is already falling. They buy back in Leech Commander, trying to defend these racks as best they can. But yeah, that's a free 18 damage for Lycanthrope. Doesn't get much easier than that, and after that fight, VP Polar can pretty comfortably go into the Roshan pit. Yeah. Neither team really have those big initiating spells, and it looks like Vega are going to follow them into this. If this fight goes poorly for them, it could all be over.
Alright, so Roshan is going to drop in the blink of an eye. Aegis and Cheese on the floor. No one's going to charge right in. Puts everyone on the high ground. However, Illidan has not been caught in this one. It's going to be DK Phobos, just a duel up against everyone. I don't think DK Phobos can beat Stallioner, especially with Mystic Flare backup. Stallioner is going to get dragged back into the low ground. No, he's actually stuck right now. He's got to look for a jump out. But either way, it's going to be DK Phobos to survive. And he's still kicking around. FNG is isolated from the rest of his team. Lil gonna blink over with the multicast. Will kill out the Phantom Assassin. She has no buyback for 2 minutes. Now Arzeek is gonna be chased down by Illidan Stormage, looking for a bash. Won't quite find it. Cast gonna be thrown. Magic Missile is gonna be thrown in response. Seema now with the Fire Blast on him. Illidan Stormage taking pretty much no damage, even though he's sitting in the tower. Even with the Death Ward there, DK Phobos is charging forward, probably a little bit suicidally. Will get the kill, but he will go down. Illidan Stormage also a little bit too close to the Death Ward. Is gonna be forced to back off. He's gonna try to turn around for no one. He will also take a fall. Where's the Aegis and Cheese in all of this? They just took out Roshan. Seema the Slayer, he's going to turn around for a nice 2-man Maledict, and Lil FNG, they're both chain stunned because of that cast, but they're going to turn things around onto no one. Unrefined Fire Blast, guaranteed cast. No one's going to get the RP off, and Lil and FNG are both probably going to die right now. Actually, never mind. It's only a level 1 Maledict. FNG is going to hit with the cask after Lil's already dead, and that will be everyone else from VP Polar going down. Seriously, who has the Aegis? Who has the Cheese? Because Lycan or TA should have had one of them.
So TA had the Aegis, I believe, in that fight, used it, then died again, and Vengeful Spirit had the Cheese, uses it to make the turn onto the Magnus, doesn't get the kill, and ends up dying for it. I don't understand why Lycanthrope didn't just drop his Midas, give it to one of the supports even, and pick up the Aegis. That would have been a completely different fight.
Alright, well, it's still going to be a okay exchange for VP because they do snag Roshan so quickly, but Vega, that fight was just so many layers of chaos as Magnus starting things off with a massive skewer up into the high ground. If he hit the Lycanthrope, that could have been really bad for Vega, but fortunately he got everyone else but the Lycan. Who knows, all these small things could have made such a huge difference. Either way, it is still going to be only melee racks in favor of the Vega side, but VP Polar clearly are not going to be slowed down by that too much. The Cheese is not there anymore, as you said, so Roshan is not going to be an objective, or not going to be an objective for a very long time for either side. We might just be in this little bit of a farming rut again.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. Mag, instead of going for a Scythe of Ice, which I thought was going to be his choice with the Ultimate Orb, it's going to be a Lincoln Sphere for him. If he's able to dump that onto the Lycanthrope, life just gets a little bit easier for VP Polar, as the Abyssal Blades, which were absolutely ridiculous in that last fight, being thrown left and right, are going to be a little bit less reliable, as is a duel, if they're able to get it off there. I think Scythe is probably a little bit better, but Lincoln's definitely has its merits.
Right, so Batrider's going to have that one, and maybe it's going to be Scythe down the line. It does seem like this game has the potential to run very, very long, so who knows, we might be seeing a full slick-slotted Batrider down the line. Although he's pretty much there already, travels to replace the Tranquils, maybe ship the gem off to someone else, but you really want to have a gem on your Batrider if there's going to be a gem at all on your team. Really, I think the unsung heroes of this game has been Lil and the Ogre Magi. He's been putting out so much consistent damage with the Fire Blast, both refined and unrefined, and it's been holding out Vega for quite a long time. Not to mention FNG's swaps, which FNG has been not playing the best in these games. He's been picked off more than once, and he's been certainly, he's capable of avoiding those picks, but man, just a single swap in that first mid lane fight, that pretty much won them the fight. So if FNG and Lil can keep performing as they have been, then it's going to be a serious threat to Vega.
Yeah. Even though FNG's KDA does look abysmal at 212, it's still completely fine. Even when he gets picked off, honestly, Vengeful Spirit's kind of there just for those defensive swaps, and as long as those are on point, it's completely fine. Even if FNG does get picked off here and there, trying to get some farm or placing wards.
It looks like VP Polar, they're going to apply a little bit of pressure towards mid. They're going to look for a lasso pick right now, and maybe they're going to catch no one, or maybe they're not going to catch anyone. Maybe they don't care. They're going to swap back Stallion into an Abyssal and a multicast. Do they have enough damage to actually kill off this PA? It looks like they do, and she doesn't have buyback. Death Ward is going to be channeled RP as well, but it's not doing quite enough. FNG is going to give his life for that initiation, but it's so worth it to trade a VS for a PA. They're going to charge forward, looking for more. It's going to be a multicast onto Afterlife, another Fire Blast onto Seema the Slayer. Not quite enough damage to kill off Afterlife just yet, but he will be taking a fall shortly after, as soon as DK Phobos and Lycan change their attention. Range Rax is down, melee Rax is soon to follow. Vega, they have no Phantom Assassin, they have no Legion Commander, no buybacks. I think they're going to lose 2 sets of Raxes here.
Yeah, because the Tier 2 tower survives down in bottom, it's not going to be full 3. But my goodness, Virtus Pro Polar, that initiation was quite honestly ridiculous. Level 16 swap is huge. They're going to get Shiva, skewer back on Illidan Stormage with the Mystic Flare. It's going to miss. No, he's going to walk back into it. Ends up falling Mailed Strike on the Witch Doctor. It's not going to end his life. And, well, the second lane of barracks might be a little bit harder for VP Polar to pick up, and it looks like it's not even going to happen. But let's see, they're going to jump in for a Fire Blast, multicast 3 times on the Seam of the Slayer. There's an RP, lands onto 3, but where's the follow-up damage for it? Magnus is trying to do it the best he can. There's another multicast on the Witch Doctor, skewer back onto DK Phobos, but now DK Phobos is probably just going to be able to turn this one around. Double multicast, 4 times onto no one, falling it back outside of the base. No one's going to be able to survive with the well regen, but the barracks aren't going to be so lucky. Actually, they are. Backdoor regen is going to mean that they can't go for it.
Huh, somehow they got backdoor regen up. Vega are going to count their lucky stars, thank their lucky stars because that actually happened. No one's going to charge forward looking for something, but man, that was really weird. I mean, they just took mid-raxes. You would expect there to be no backdoor protection up, but for whatever reason, the creep's just not working out for VP Polar. They probably could have taken down the range racks there, probably not the melee, but either way, it's going to be VP Polar to equalize, actually taking the lead in the rack score in this game, and Vega, they're seemingly running out of steam right now. Their Phantom Assassin's still pretty big. Their Legion Commander still has an outrageous plus 148 damage. It just doesn't seem like it's doing enough, and that's freaking terrifying. Like, if you have heroes that are this stacked and it's just not enough, then what the hell do you need to do more?
Yeah. I think it does come down to just the ability of VP Polar to look for pickoffs, and a lot of it's down to positioning. Let's see if Vega are going to be able to catch anybody off guard, and this is the way to do it. They have 3 smokes on the courier, and they're going to be spending 1 of them. 5 of their heroes, or rather 4 of their heroes, everybody minus the Witch Doctor, is currently under the guise of that smoke, and it looks like the hero that's going to get picked off, if anybody, is poor Mag, who's farming up the jungle, but instead they go for a different route, maybe angling up towards top. They're going to throw a shockwave and kill a trap. Okay, the jig is up, smoke is happening, and now it's not.
Yeah, they still have 2 more, so I guess they have 2 more chances. I don't really know what the point that smoke was, since they didn't actually look for anyone. Like, they just stayed on their side of the map the entire time, which is the safe play for sure, but if you're smoked up, you generally want to be looking for kills, and that obviously wasn't the case. Regardless, Vega, they are now going to be forced to be on the defensive once more. VP, they're putting more pressure over towards the mid lane, just helping the creep waves get in so that they don't have to worry about backdoor protection. They're also going up towards top, and, well, we remember what happened last time VP decided to go for the straight push. Things did not go well for Vega, and there is still level 3 swap on FNG. I would say at this point, it might actually be a better initiation tool than a lasso from the bat.
Yeah, it costs Venge her life and probably will give some extra damage to Legion Commander, but yeah, just an instant way to replace that positioning. They're going to skewer back Hilden Storm Rage, but he has the BKB now in shapeshift form. The Lincoln Sphere is going to mean that he's able to munch down these barracks on the sidelines freely. Melee barracks gone with nothing really spent, and they might be able to back off here. Paralyzing cast, bouncing back and forth through a whole truckload of heroes. RP again completely misses as Elastigos on the Stallianer. They're going to duel up DK Phobos, but it doesn't matter. They lost their Phantom Assassin. DK Phobos is actually going to win that duel because of the BKB. Blade Mail did absolutely jack squat. Seam of the Slayer. Now he's going to be focused down. Doesn't even make a difference because GG is called out by Vega, and honestly, there's nothing they can do at this point.
So I think even though VP Polar won the game, Hands of Midas won the game. Like, it was looking so great for Vega. They were taking all these kills. It wasn't quite enough though, because the Lycan and the Templar Assassin were constantly not in those fights. Once they actually started to join, my god, did things change, and they changed in a hurry. These 2 heroes got so much freaking gold. 727 GPM on Illidan, 605 on DK Phobos, and it's hard to overcome that, no matter how great your start is. So that's going to be it. VP Polar are going to knock Vega Squadron down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, we are going to have another series coming up at 19 CET. I believe that's going to be between Aftershock and Hellraisers. So in about an hour, so I'll probably just keep the stream up. So thanks for watching. We'll go back to some music and some lobby while we wait for the second series. We'll play to both teams, and, well, that's not the end of Vega Squadron's life inside this tournament. They're just bumped down to the lower bracket. We'll have to see how they perform there.